if by some miracle of divine intervention, or really just a ballot stuffing, I get voted in, is there a time delay for me getting here, and how long do I plan to stay? I say it, right? If I get voted in tonight, I can't be here until January. I can't. I've made family obligations through Christmas that will prevent me from being here until then. I also have to buy a house, and my house closes on the 22nd, and we've talked to a realtor, and it can take 6 weeks because they're all backlogged. We'll be trying to buy a house. January is as early as I can get here. But the big question is, how long do I plan to stay? I'm 50 years old. I've got 20 solid years of ministry ahead of me, and I told the search committee exactly what I mean. My intention is to serve here for 20 years, to retire and be a member of this church till I die, and then be buried outside the pastor's office. Now, that being said, I am not my own master. I am not my own master. And if the Lord does something, my job is to say, sir, yes, sir, and obey. But John's intention is to retire here, stay here, and be buried right over there, right back over there. Or at least that's my intention.
Well, we can do probably all but one.
The burying in the back?
Burying in the back, that's going to be a little harder.
Scatter my ashes. Oh, scatter my ashes off the roof. Yeah, that'll be all right. Oh.
All right, let's see. Here's another question. Being a pastor is a stressful job. How do you, and then...
It disappeared.
And then we got something else show up.
Guitar Center.
Yeah. How do you handle the stress?
Yes, being a pastor is a very stressful job. In fact, it's not a job. If you can do anything else, you should do it. No one should be a pastor unless God makes them be a pastor, just to be fair. Because it is incredibly stressful. It is spiritual warfare. It is. I don't recommend it. So how do you handle the stress? Great question. I handle the stress by exercising. I handle the stress by, we really like to walk and hike in nature. I handle the stress by being a reader, which allows me to disengage. I read a lot. I read a lot of Christian books, but I also read a lot of garbage. I love science fiction and fantasy. In fact, my son's first name is Nathan, and his middle name is Kirk. Our second son was going to be Samuel, Nathan and Samuel, 2 prophets. And you know what his middle name was going to be? Spock. And God never gave us a boy, and so we have Hannah and Sarah instead. So I read a lot of fantasy and science fiction, escape literature, to kind of help with that stress. I also write, and I write a lot. And you really should buy my 7 books on Amazon. In fact, buy 7 of each one of them so I can get the 4 cents for each book. Only my mother was buying my books. So, could you help me out? But I write a lot, and I write primarily for fun. So I often take my own devotions or the Bible studies I do, or even my sermon series, and I write them in booklet form after the fact. And I do that as an exercise to re-engage the material and because it's calming to me. In addition to that, I'm totally a word geek. You already know that. I'm sorry. So April is National Poetry Month. So every April I buy a book of poetry and I read a book of poetry. My first published book, the only one that was done in paper, was actually a poetry book, not for print anymore. 77 poems on infinity. The publisher changed the title so it would sell more and changed the title to Strange Love. California and the UK bought most of them, other than my mother who bought a cake. That's all that works. So I will read a poetry book for relaxation. I may even write poetry in April for relaxation. And then this is November. Every year for the last 12 years, for fun, nobody gets to read it, I also write a novel. Just as a stress reliever. So I'm, 80,000 words into a novel for this year. I'm about 10,000 words from the end. You will never read it. Don't ask. I won't let you. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. But November is National Novel Writing Month, which is a thing. But it's okay. I won't make you read my poetry either. And I don't do my poetry during sermons. 3 points in a poem. I don't do the poem part either. But all of that, all full encompassing, really helps with the stress. And because of my depth of experience, because I know how stressful this job is, I asked for double the vacation from you guys, just so you know. Again, looking for my personal health so I can continue for 20 years without going too insane.